Last week on Valentine's Day, Hulu dropped this new show, High Fidelity, which is based on a novel that came out in the 90s, as well as it turned into a movie in 2000 and later turned into a Broadway play in 2006. And now it is on Hulu. We're talking about it today. You know, there's one thing I could definitely say that I learned from the show, and that is Zoe Kravitz is indeed the coolest person on the planet. We're going to talk about that and much more. Rob, a record store owner in the rapidly gentrified Crown Heights neighborhood of Brooklyn, revisits past relationships through music and pop culture while trying to get over one of her true loves. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Movie Files. Elliot here with a new TV review for a show that isn't necessarily new, but it premiered on Hulu last week. Didn't get a chance to watch it when it dropped, but I finally watched it these last couple days, and I'm here to talk about it today. But before we dive into it, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts. And if you haven't, definitely subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so you can stay up to date with my latest videos, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment below. Let me know your thoughts of High Fidelity. Did you like this more? Did you enjoy the book? Did you enjoy the movie in 2000, the Broadway play if you saw it? Let me know your thoughts on it. And if you agree, like I said at the beginning, Zoe Kravitz is the coolest person on the world. Let me know your thoughts on how she portrayed this character, Robin, in this show. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have some fun discussions down there. So, as I had mentioned, I know I'm about a week late. Again, I watch a lot of movies, a lot of shows, as you all know, that follow me on my channel. But I finally got a chance this past week to watch this show, and I'm sharing my thoughts with you all with it because I haven't heard that much buzz about it. I haven't seen too many reviews. I haven't read too many reviews. So I just figured, hey, let me go ahead and give you my thoughts on this show. So as we do on this channel, I like to start off with the positives, and I'm not going to dive into the spoilers with the show because, again, a lot of people haven't, at least to my knowledge, a lot of people haven't really watched it yet, so I'm going to keep it spoiler-free. So let's jump into the positives. First and foremost, I got to start off with, I'm a big music person. I haven't listened to music as much, like new music, like I used to. Like back in the day, man, I used to be just like Zoe Kravitz character Rob, like into music, and I love that aspect about the show because obviously movies are my first love, but music is right there and then up there with sports as well because I used to play sports back in the day, as you kind of learn some things about me there. But I really enjoy music, guys. And this show, if there's one thing outside of Zoe Kravitz being awesome, and I'm going to talk about her in a bit, but if there's one thing I can definitely say, I love the soundtrack for this show. It reminded me a little bit of, if you all watch these shows, let me know in the comments, but it reminded me of, Spike Lee's film, She's Gotta Have It, which was turned into a show on Netflix, which I enjoyed the first season, didn't like the second season that much, but it reminded me of that style, that flavor, and kind of that soundtrack reminded me of that, and also the character in that show reminded me a lot of Rob, and also it reminded me a lot of Issa Rae's show on HBO, Insecure, so a lot of similarities there for me personally, but like I said, that music of this show really kind of takes me back to my love for music because you can look on my phone, my playlist, which let me know your playlist since this show is all based around music. Let me know what your top 5 songs would be if you made a playlist for your loved one or just a playlist for yourself. But, for me personally, there's days I'm listening to Kendrick Lamar, I'm listening to Drake, I'm listening to J. Cole, Jay-Z, all those type of music. But then I can go the next day listen to James Blake, Travis Scott, Linkin Park, Radiohead. I have a very wide range of music, and that's one thing I can really relate to in the show. It's just like, it's not about certain genres or certain artists. It's just about appreciating music, and I really love that aspect on the show and how the music incorporated itself within the storyline that's going on. Whether Rob's meeting someone new and you have some upbeat type of music, or she's in a down spot in her life and you hear a little bit more depressing type of music. You might hear some Marvin Gaye, you might hear some Stevie Wonder. Again, I cannot applaud this show enough. Really highlighting some amazing artists and also some really good discussions. I don't want to give too much away, but there's some really interesting discussions that I have amongst my friends in regards to separating the art from the artist and conversations like that. So again, there's one thing that I can definitely say that for someone that loves music like myself, I know a lot of you all love music, this is a show that really appreciates music and really injects the music culture into the show, and I really love that. But we got to talk about these characters, starting off with our lead actress, Zoe Kravitz, playing Rob, who I've seen the film, but it's been 20 years since the film's been out, and I've probably seen it once, and I was young when I saw it, so I don't remember that much. But we have this character, Rob, who, again, based on a synopsis, she's going through kind of a rough spout in her life, and she's trying to figure out what went wrong in her big relationships, her top 5 relationships. And looking at Rob, man, was something I really appreciate, and we'll talk about Zoe Kravitz in a bit here as far as her performance, but the character as a whole, I like when TV shows make their characters flawed. Rob is not perfect perfect by any means. She is flawed. She is maybe not the best friend that you would hope she could be, or maybe not the best, significant other in a relationship. She has some flaws, but at the same time, she is a likable character in my opinion. There's some moments that I definitely don't agree with Rob, but I can still, as a whole, I like when our characters are complex, and she is definitely complex, and you learn a lot about her character as far as that maybe not so nice things that she has done in the past towards the back half of the season. But again, I like when a show does give us a flawed character, and they're not perfect, and they don't know everything, and they don't want to know everything. I really like that aspect about Rob. But for the performance-wise, Zoe Kravitz, I've been a fan of hers for a very long time, and I've seen her in quite a few movies, but mostly supporting lead roles, whether it be from the Divergent series or Mad Max Fury Road, or voice acting in Spider-Man, and seeing her on shows like Big Little Lies, which I really enjoyed the first season of that show. The second season did not work for me at all, especially her character, who was just very one note, and it's understandable. It's really not her fault. It's more or less the writing of that show for season 2. But either way, as I digress, I'm a big fan of Zoe Kravitz, and one thing that actually got me watching this show was I'm a big fan of Hot Ones, and I saw her review or her interview that she did with Sean. It was like a week ago, and she brought up the show, and that's when kind of got me on the radar. But one thing that I'm very excited to see Zoe Kravitz is obviously seeing her on more TV shows like this, but she's playing Catwoman, as we all know, Selena Kyle. Very excited to see her, and I've never really seen her in that type of role, so I want to watch this show to see what kind of range she has. And boy, I'm telling you all, she's more than just a super cool, obviously a very attractive woman, but she has a lot of range. I think this show really showcases that in this, because she is funny. She can be dramatic. She can be, likable. She can be unlikable. And she shows you all the different things within this show. And I'm so excited to see her in this Batman movie coming out next year as Catwoman and as, Selena Kyle. But I'm also very excited to see her continue to do roles like this as Rob, a complex character with a very interesting past, and make some really, irrational decisions. So I really, 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 I think outside of the music aspect of the show, my second favorite part of the show, or A1, AB, is Zoe Kravitz as Rob. I thought she killed it. There were some other people that stood out for me in the cast. Another person was Davine Joy Randolph, who I love. If you haven't seen Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix, check that movie out. She was phenomenal. Her and Eddie Murphy's chemistry was great, but she is so great in this show. At first, it takes you a little bit to get used to her character, and I'm going to get into my negatives here in a bit, but I wish we would have gotten more from her character. But what we do get with this character, I really enjoyed her. She's a no-nonsense type of character. She has a lot of passion for music, and she also has some interesting takes on music and some really good dialogue around that. But she's also a loyal friend, and she has a love for music, like I said, and I really enjoyed her character. But another character that at first I was just kind of curious on where they were going with them, but by the end of the season, I was really on board with them. That is Simon. He gets his own solo episode towards the back half of the season, which I really enjoyed. At first, I'm like, this is kind of out of place. Don't know where it's going. But by the end of that, I believe it's episode 8, you kind of see what Simon's about and kind of see what he's been doing in the background of the show, because obviously, Zoe Kravitz, Rob is our main character. But those were some really good characters. And we get some other characters that pop in and out, like Rob's brother, which you spend some time with him and his wife and their kid, or they're soon to be having a kid, and some other characters, Clyde, which he was okay, and Liam, and we'll talk about that stuff in my negatives. But overall, I thought that, again, the music, Zoe Kravitz, Simon's character, as well as Davine Joy Rudolph's character, I thought they were great. And there's a lot that I really liked about this show. So one being, before I go into my criticisms, it's 10 episodes, but they range between 24 to 30 minutes. It was a breeze to go through this show. So definitely an easy binge and an easy watch. But let's jump into some of my criticisms for this show. First and foremost, again, I enjoy the cast. I enjoy the story that was being told. But I will say the show has a little bit of identity crisis. It doesn't really know what it is. The first half of the season kind of focuses on the premise of the movie and also the premise of the synopsis I read, where Rob's trying to figure out what she's done wrong in her past top 5 relationships. And they spend like the first 3 to 4 episodes on that. And then it kind of loses its momentum, and then it kind of pops up again in the middle of the season. And then on the second half of the season, it's focused on kind of 2 relationships, and then it's kind of focused on a side character. So I thought that the story was a little bit uneven in regards to character development, story development, and kind of getting a narrative of where this show is going. Now, I do appreciate a show that this kind of gives you a day in a life and kind of gives you an idea of what their life is like, a day in, out of the shop, how they interact with one another. I like that type of vibe, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, where are we going? Is there going to be a potential season 2? So I was just kind of frustrated about how they told the story and how they didn't spend time with certain characters and learning more about Deveen's character, you find about, you see that she loves music, but then they kind of throw in this storyline that she wants to start a band. They really don't dive into that much and kind of leave her in the back burner. And that same goes with Simon, like his whole relationship and that whole, like I said, I really enjoyed that episode that we get with Simon, but it was just like, okay, where are we going with this? And then, like I said, when they were doing that, they forgot about Clyde and Liam, and then Matt gets thrown into the mix. So I just thought that the story was just a little bit uneven, a little bit all over the place. And like I said, that kind of goes into that lack of character development too, because there were some characters that I would have liked to have learned a little bit more about. Again, Simon, her two best friends, what's going on with her working at the shop, trying to save up from that guitar, not giving too much away, but it was just like they threw that in the mix. And then Simon, this new guy at the coffee shop, it was just all over the place for me personally. But another thing too that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I won't give too much away, but I like the idea of where Rob was in the middle of the season, where she wasn't necessarily dependent on a relationship. And again, I love that she's flawed, and this is showing you kind of like a real world situation. We all want to be independent at times, but then we want to have a significant others, and then sometimes we go back. So I like that aspect of the show kind of highlighted that, but at the same time, it was just like it kind of contradicted itself as far as where Rob was and then where she ended, which I did not like that ending too much. And I don't know if it opens itself up for a season 2, but personally, I didn't like what they did with Rob, especially in that last 5 minutes, and kind of where she kind of left things at and at the doorstep of someone, and the way she kind of approached that. I just didn't personally think that was something that the character would have done, but that's just my gripes there. But either way, again, there's more positives than negatives for me personally. I would recommend you all checking out the show. Again, Zoe Kravitz is great. The supporting cast, Simon and Deveen, Joy Randolph's characters, really fun and hilarious. And I wish we would have got more from them, but I love the soundtrack. And again, it's a really good show. I recommend you all checking it out. It is an easy breeze to watch. 10 episodes, less than 30 minutes, really 3.5 hours worth of binging, and I would recommend you all checking it out, like I said. So that's just my thoughts on High Fidelity on Hulu. Again, I don't know if we're going to get a season 2, but if we do, I'll definitely check it out. So that's my review. Definitely give me your thoughts in the comments below if you got a chance to check it out, or if you do plan on checking it out, come back and let me know what you all thought of the show. So give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, hit that bell so you can stay up to date with my content, follow me on all my social media accounts. Keep an eye out for some more reviews coming pretty soon. Thank you all again for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.